Hi guys, and welcome back to another episode of Shaking the Family Tree. This edition is going to be a little bit different than before. We're going to focus on DNA. My father had his DNA done through the Family Tree DNA site, and he mainly did it for me so that I can use that to further our family tree research. And this is some of the information that we found out about his DNA. So as you can see, they broke it down into ancient European origins. He's 11% Middle Age invader, 46% farmer, 43% hunter-gatherer, and 0% non-European, which is pretty much what I assumed. They also give you this really cool map, which I'm going to show you in a minute, that gives you a hint as to where your ancestors may have come from. Now, as you can see, we have relatives from Spain, France, near Romania, Budapest mainly, the edge of Italy, Denmark, Copenhagen, out that way. And that's just on my dad's side. We have somebody way over there. They'll give you this map. You can click on it and it will tell you about the different cultures that lived in those areas, so you can find out a little bit more about your ancestral DNA. But that's not all that the site gives you. It also shows you your ethnic makeup percentage. And as you can see, we are actually 80%, well, my dad is 80% British Isles and 20% Southeast Europe. My mother, I'm assuming, is probably in the same ballpark based on the information that I've researched myself over the years. Mom has passed away, so we cannot do her DNA. We can do my DNA or my siblings' DNA to find out a little bit more about her heritage, but for now we're just working with Dad's DNA, and you can see what we learned about that. So you may be wondering, how does this play into family tree research? Is it any good? Is it useful information? And actually it is. I go onto the DNA site and I look for people that share Dad's genetic markers. And I look at their family trees and I compare it to our family trees and then try to find the common ancestor. It's very time-consuming, tedious work, but I love it, and I have no problem in sitting here and doing it for hours because it's just one of my passions, actually. So I've been working on combining this information with the other sites that we use, like Ancestry and Family Tree, to come up with a broader profile of our family history. Now, remember how I showed you the map of my father's genetic origins? Well, part of the reason why we had that done is we're trying to track down our Decker surname. There are a lot of Deckers that came from the Dutch Netherlands and settled in New York and New Jersey, and a lot of them used the same names. So there may be, 10 or 20 different John Deckers all living in the same area at the same time, and it's really hard without the DNA profiles to figure out which one you're connected to. Now, the Decker that I'm showing you here is Samuel Decker, and he would actually be my great-great-grandfather, and I am particularly attached to him because he, in addition to being a cattle farmer and having other interests, was an avid writer, and he wrote a lot. He had his work appear in newspapers. A lot of it was religious-based, but he also wrote about politics and farming, and I was able to get some of those articles. So Sam was in the paper quite a bit. It was either him writing articles or people writing articles or mentions about him. And you can see right here in this one, this was from the Middletown newspaper from 1892. The people that he had living with him, not his children, but others that were staying there in the tenant house, had scarlet fever, which was kind of interesting. And here's one. It appeared in the 1892 Middletown, New York newspaper. And you can see right here, it says an essay by Samuel Decker, boy's idea of Sunday school was well received. And basically he stood up and read his essay to the folks at church, and then they covered it in the newspaper there. In addition, I'd like to mention that Sam was also featured in a book about Orange County, New York's most prominent residents of his time. So we'll give you a peek at that as well in just a minute. Now, the book is called The History of Orange County, New York, and it was edited by Russell Headley. There's a couple different books about the area, so this is the one that you want. And you can see right here, it talks about Sam and says that he was born in the village of Amity and that his father, John, was descendant of a Holland Dutch immigrant. And you see in this section, it shows that he was a Shakespearean scholar. He had a great memory and he was authority on ancient and modern history and literature, which is all things that I love. So that's one of the things that makes me gravitate towards Sam and his history.